Kevin Shannon. Another kind of CC. Another kind of CC, Kevin Shannon.
Every weekday for the last 25 years, I leave my home in East Northport and I make the long trek all the way into Midtown Manhattan to my place of business. Now, every day I take a moment to look around and see that I'm sharing this experience with thousands of other people. Unfortunately, on most days, those thousands of other people very rarely seem to notice me. Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, today I'd like to take you through an average commute day and some of the issues that I have with my fellow commuters. It all starts when I arrive at the Long Island Railroad bright and early. And for the sake of this story, let's imagine that the Long Island Railroad actually arrives on time with working heat and or air conditioning. I get on the train, walking down the middle aisle, there's a gentleman in front of me, and I'm looking over his shoulder trying to spot seats that I might have, when suddenly, and for no apparent reason, he comes to a complete stop. I almost bump into him. And I realize it's because he has found the seat that he wants to sit in. Now, I have timed this. It takes 3 to 5 seconds to spin around and slide your butt into a seat. Even my butt, just 5 seconds. But not this guy, no. First he starts untwirling his scarf. Then he slowly takes off his gloves, unbuttons his jacket, folds them all into a neat pile, puts them in the overhead rack. And all this time I'm looking and watching as every seat fills up. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not going to get a seat today because I happen to be standing behind Gypsy Rose Lee, who thinks he has to strip down completely to his underwear before he can sit in the seat. You know what? The next time I see him, I'm going to slip $1 in his belt buckle and see if he wants it. But I eventually find a seat, I sit down, I take out my book, and within 30 seconds, I'm sound asleep. This is why I only read 1 book a year. Just as I'm dozing off, the guy next to me gets an incoming cell phone call. But luckily, he had a very pleasant, gentle ringtone. Went something like this. Who let the dogs out? I bolt awake so abruptly, I hit my head on the overhead rack. And then he gets on the phone, and he's one of these guys. He's like, yeah, this is Bob. Yeah, I got that email last night. Yeah, we're going to have to deal with that as soon as I get into work this morning. And I'm looking at him totally flabbergasted, and I'm thinking to myself 2 things. 1, why is it always the guy sitting next to me? And 2, why is he always deaf? I mean, I get incoming cell phone calls, I whisper, like, hello? Yeah, it's me. Yeah, I'm on the train. What? Why am I whispering? Because there's 100 people here, I don't want them to kill me. And then usually simultaneously, 4 people look at me and go, shh. And I'm like, really? Seriously? I was whispering. Where were you this morning when Bob was talking on his megaphone? But you know, never fear. The Long Island Railroad has a solution to this. It's called the quiet car. All you have to do if you want quiet is walk to the back car, and everybody has to remain quiet there. Now, there's only one problem I see with this. It's called the laws of physics. You see, when I'm on the train, I look around, and 99.9% of the people on the train are doing exactly what I'm doing. Looks something like this. It's that other 0.1 guy who's always talking on his cell phone. So if everybody who wanted quiet went to the rear car, we would need a train car that held approximately 600 people. So I have a better idea. All we have to do is change the name of the car from the quiet car to the self-centered cell phone screamer car. You know what, let's send Bob back there, see if he can hear anything with everybody talking. And you know, the cell phones, they don't stop getting me on the train. I get off to work, get off the subway, I have a 2-block walk. I'm walking briskly down the street, all of a sudden the guy in front of me stops. For a moment I think to myself, wait a minute, is this the stripper from the Long Island Railroad? No, it's a different guy. And I can tell what he's doing immediately. All the telltale signs. His head is down, his shoulders are hunched up, his thumbs are flailing. That's right, he's texting. As he was walking to work today, the most earth-shattering, life-changing text message arrived, and he had to stop dead in his tracks to respond to it immediately. Now, I can only hope that if I reached over and grabbed that phone out of his hand, I would read something like this. Doctor, there's been a terrible car crash. The ER is full. We need you here stat. And he'd be texting back, I am on my way. But you know, in reality, I know that if I grabbed that phone, I'd probably read something like this. Hey dude, here's the drunk pictures of you from the beach party this weekend. And he'd be pithily replying, LOL. Which 2 out of 3 times he spells incorrectly. Even when I get to my office building, I have problems. I work on the 2nd floor. I get into a crowded elevator. A lot of buttons are pressed already. I reach over and I press 2. The woman next to me lets out an audible sigh of frustration. I'm taken aback. I say, I hope I didn't ruin your day. She said, well, you know, some of us have to punch a time clock. It's 1 minute to 9. I'm going to be late now. Well, now sarcastic Kevin takes over. I'm like, oh, really? Thank you for explaining that, because now I realize why I'm solely responsible for you being late today. You know, maybe I could help. Perhaps I could write a note. Please forgive her for being late. I had to get off at 2. She didn't think that was funny. But you know, when I turned around and looked at some of the other people in the elevator, they were going like this. And as I watched the doors close and looked at her, I quickly reached in and pressed 3. Have a nice day. So fellow Toastmasters, remember, you share this earth with so many other people. Don't make loud cell phone calls. Don't stop in the middle of the street to text message. Don't get mad at somebody because they work on tune. And above all, please promise me, you will never strip on the Long Island Railroad. We as Toastmasters spend so much time working on our CC. I want you to work on another CC that you can work on every day. It's called common courtesy. And if I could leave you with just one idea, oh, just a second. I got a text message, have to go. Mr. Contest Chair.